Hey there, everyone! Welcome back to Summary in 15 Minutes. I'm your host, and today I'm super excited to dive into a topic that could completely transform the way you see the world and chase your dreams. If you've ever felt stuck, unmotivated, or like life's just not going your way, this one's for you. We're talking about Attitude is Everything by Jeff Keller. A book that's all about how a simple shift in your mindset can unlock a life filled with success, happiness, and endless possibilities. So, grab a comfy seat, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's unpack this game-changing book together. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools to reshape your thoughts, choose your words wisely, and take bold actions toward your goals. And don't worry, I've broken it down into bite-sized pieces so you can soak it all in without feeling overwhelmed. Ready to see the glass as half full? Let's jump right in. Part 1. Your mind is the key to your reality. Let's start with a big idea. Your attitude is like a pair of glasses that colors everything you see. Two people can go through the exact same situation, say a rainy day or a tough day at work, but one might feel miserable while the other finds a silver lining. Why? It's all about their mindset. Think back to when you were a kid. Remember how fearless you were? You'd fall off your bike, dust yourself off, and try again without a second thought. The world felt full of possibilities. But as we grow up, life starts to pile on. Criticism from others, failures, disappointments, and slowly, that wide-eyed optimism gets clouded. It's like a fog settles over our perspective, making it harder to see the good in things. Here's the good news. You have the power to clear that fog. Your attitude isn't something that's set in stone. It's something you can shape. And when you do, it changes everything. Let me tell you a story that proves just how powerful this can be. Imagine being in one of the darkest places on Earth, a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. That's where Viktor Frankl found himself. He faced unimaginable horrors, starvation, freezing cold, and the loss of his entire family. Most people in his situation might have given up all hope. But Viktor didn't. He believed that even in the worst circumstances, he had one thing no one could take away: the power to choose his attitude. Viktor realized that it's not what happens to you that defines your life, it's how you choose to see it. He watched how the brutal conditions affected other prisoners, breaking some but not others. What made the difference? Their mindset. Viktor chose to focus on hope, on meaning, and on the belief that he could still find purpose, even in a place filled with suffering. And he didn't just survive, he went on to become a world-renowned psychologist and wrote Man's Search for Meaning, a book that's inspired millions. So, what can we learn from Viktor? Your attitude is your greatest asset. No matter what life throws at you, a tough job, a broken dream, or a bad day, you get to decide how you respond. And that choice can make all the difference. Part 2. You are what you think. Here's a mind-blowing truth. You attract what you focus on. If you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, like, I'll never get that promotion, or I'm just not good enough, guess what? You're setting yourself up to stay stuck. But if you fill your mind with positive, goal-oriented thoughts, you start pulling those dreams closer to reality. Let me share a story about Jeff Keller himself, the author of this book. Jeff had a dream of becoming a real estate investor. He saw people in his city buying properties and making big profits, and he wanted in. But for a long time, he was paralyzed by fear. He kept thinking about everything that could go wrong: bad tenants, repair costs, you name it. His negative attitude was holding him back. Then, in 1986, Jeff started reading books about the power of mindset. Something clicked. He decided to flip his thinking. Instead of focusing on the risks, he began visualizing himself as a successful property owner. He set a clear goal: buy 2 properties by the end of the year. Every day, he thought about that goal. He met with real estate agents, toured houses, and took small, steady steps forward. And you know what? By the end of 1986, he owned 2 properties. His dream came true. Not because the world changed, but because he changed his attitude. This is what I mean when I say you're like a human magnet. When you focus on what you want with a positive mindset, you start noticing opportunities you might have missed before. Your energy shifts, and you naturally take actions that move you closer to your goals. So, ask yourself, what's one dream you've been thinking about? Start picturing it clearly in your mind and let that vision guide you. Part 3. Picture your success. Speaking of visualization, let's talk about how powerful it is to create a mental movie of your success. Athletes do this all the time. They imagine crossing the finish line or sinking that game-winning shot. And it works because your brain doesn't always know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Take Robert, a friend of Jeff's. Robert's lifelong dream was to become a judge. When he got nominated for a judge's position, he was thrilled, but also nervous. The pressure was intense, and self-doubt started creeping in. Jeff gave him a simple but brilliant piece of advice. Start signing your name as Judge Robert Jones. Robert took it seriously. He wrote that signature on a piece of paper and kept it in his wallet where he'd see it every day. That small act helped him visualize himself as a judge. It built his confidence and kept him focused. But Robert didn't stop at visualization. He backed it up with action. He poured everything into his campaign, rallied his supporters, and worked tirelessly. And guess what? He won the election. That mental image of Judge Robert Jones became his reality because he believed in it and acted on it. You can do this too. Pick a goal. Maybe it's landing a new job, starting a business, or even running a marathon. Close your eyes and picture yourself achieving it. What does it look like? How do you feel? Make that image as vivid as possible and revisit it daily. Then take one small step toward it. That combination of vision and action is unstoppable. Part 4. Commitment moves mountains. Now, let's talk about commitment. Dreams don't come true just because you want them to. You have to be all in. True commitment means doing whatever it takes, even when the going gets tough. Let me tell you about Jerry Gladstone. In 1999, Jerry started a company selling toys, but he wasn't satisfied. He had a bigger vision: to sell Disney animation art. He reached out to Disney, but they turned him down. Most people would have given up, but not Jerry. For 3 years, he kept calling, pitching, and pushing. One Disney employee even left him a voicemail saying, "You'll never get a deal with us." Ouch, but Jerry didn't let that stop him. Finally, Disney offered him a deal, but there was a catch. He could only sell their art if he opened a store in Minnesota or Massachusetts. Jerry lived in New York and loved it there. Moving was a huge sacrifice. But the very next day, he was on a plane to Boston, scouting locations. His commitment impressed Disney so much that they let him into their program. A year later, he got to open a store in New York, and within a decade, he was one of the world's top sellers of animation art. Jerry's story shows us that commitment isn't just about effort. It's about staying the course, even when life throws obstacles in your way. So, what's something you're committed to? And what's one step you can take today to prove it? Part 5. The power of your words. All right, let's shift gears and talk about something we all do every day. Talk. The words you choose have a massive impact on your attitude and your reality. Positive words build you up. Negative ones tear you down. Think about how you answer a simple question like, "How are you?" It's so easy to say, "I'm tired," or "I'm stressed." But when you say that, you're reinforcing those feelings. Let me tell you about Sally, someone who learned this the hard way. Sally worked in an office and always felt exhausted. Whenever someone asked, "How are you?" she'd sigh and say, "I'm so tired." By the end of the day, she was practically falling asleep at her desk. Her words were making her feel worse. Then something wild happened. One evening, Sally checked a lottery ticket and found out she'd won $10 million. Suddenly, she was dancing around her house, calling friends and buzzing with energy. Where did that come from? Her mindset shifted. The excitement of winning changed her focus, and her words followed. If she'd kept saying, "I'm tired," even after winning, she'd have stayed in that slump. The lesson? Your words shape your reality. Try this. The next time someone asks, "How are you?" say something positive like, "I'm doing great," or "I'm ready to tackle the day." Even if you don't fully believe it at first, you'll start to feel the difference. And trust me, the people around you will feel it too. Part 6. Surround yourself with positivity. Here's another key to success. The people you hang out with matter. Positive people lift you up, inspire you, and push you toward your goals. Negative people? They drain your energy and make everything feel harder. Take Smokey, a guy who worked in the sales department of a funeral home for 45 years. You'd think working around death would make someone gloomy, but Smokey was the opposite. He was bursting with positivity. Why? Because he was intentional about who he spent time with. He believed that people are like sponges, soaking up the energy around them. So, he surrounded himself with upbeat, encouraging folks and steered clear of complainers. Smokey's onto something. If you want to stay positive, choose your circle wisely. Find people who believe in you, cheer you on, and challenge you to grow. And if you've got toxic people in your life, it's okay to set boundaries. Your attitude is too valuable to let negativity drag it down. Part 7. Face your fears. Let's get real for a second. Fear is a part of life. Whether it's fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown, it can stop you from chasing your dreams. But here's the thing. Success lies on the other side of fear. Meet Dodie, a high school teacher who always dreamed of working in entertainment. For years, she stayed in teaching because it was safe. But deep down, her passion for music burned bright. One summer, she quit her job, determined to break into show business. But fear hit hard. The thought of rejection was so overwhelming that she went back to teaching. 6 months later, Dodie retired and decided to try again. This time, she faced her fear head-on. In her 50s, she started performing her musical show. By 60, she'd released her first album and was singing in bars and clubs across New York City. Dodie's story proves that it's never too late to confront your fears and go after what you love. So, what's something you're afraid to try? Maybe it's asking for a raise, starting a side hustle, or even speaking up in a meeting. Take a deep breath, identify what's holding you back, and take one small step forward. You'll be amazed at how empowering it feels. Part 8. Embrace failure. Here's a truth bomb. Failure is not the enemy. In fact, it's one of the best teachers you'll ever have. The key is to keep going, no matter how many times you stumble. Let's talk about Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, the authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul. They had a dream to publish their book, but it wasn't easy. They sent their manuscript to publisher after publisher, 33 rejections in total. Most people would have thrown in the towel, but Jack and Mark kept pushing. On their 34th try, a publisher said yes. It took them 3 years instead of their planned 3 months, but they did it. Today, Chicken Soup for the Soul is a global phenomenon. Their story shows us that failure is just a stepping stone. Every no brings you closer to a yes. So, don't let rejection define you. Keep trying, keep learning, and keep believing in your dream. Conclusion: your attitude, your future. All right, we've covered a lot today, so let's wrap it up with a challenge. You've learned that your attitude is the foundation of your success. It starts in your mind, flows through your words, and comes to life through your actions. You've seen how people like Viktor Frankl, Jeff Keller, and Dodie transform their lives by choosing positivity, even in the face of incredible challenges. Now, it's your turn. Take a moment to think about a glass of water that's half filled. Do you see it as half full or half empty? There's no wrong answer. It's just a snapshot of your current mindset. If you lean toward half empty, that's okay. The beauty of attitude is that you can change it, starting right now. Here's my challenge for you. Pick one area of your life where you want to shift your attitude. Maybe it's how you talk about your job, how you approach a goal, or even how you answer, "How are you?" Commit to focusing on the positive for 1 week. Visualize your success, choose uplifting words, and take small actions toward your dream. Then come back and let me know how it went in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If this video inspired you, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use a dose of positivity. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next summary. We've got more life-changing books coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Summary in 15 Minutes. Remember, your attitude is your superpower. Use it wisely and watch how your world transforms. Until next time, stay positive and keep chasing your dreams.